Andy?
Due domande, una per gli interpreti. Abbiamo visto molte scene di azione, combattimenti, quindi voglio sapere se ve la siete cavata in questa azione, se vi siete fatti male o d'altro. Poi per la sceneggiatrice, visto che lavora continuamente col sangue, quindi parliamo anche di Dexter in questo caso, quindi quanto gli piace lavorare, diciamo, col sangue a questo punto?
Well, I mean, I would personally, I think as actors, we're acting Cotton Wool a little bit, and I would personally like to get her a little bit more on set. I think it'd be a little bit of fun, you know, get a little more into character. But no, I mean, anything that might involve that, you know, that kind of stunt work is given over to the stunt people. The guy who did the most stunt work in the film was a guy called Dan Covell, who plays Felix, and obviously Robert did a lot as well. So it's probably a better question for those guys, what little parts of the action that we might have had was in no way life-threatening. So... yeah, there's the guy that was doubling for Rob, apparently. Had a broken arm half the time, so.
Regarding the gore that I work with, I really love exploring the dark parts of humanity and the darker parts of ourselves. So it does tend to involve blood more often, I think. But both Dexter and the Twilight series, there are some similarities in the lead characters who are both attracted to blood and both attracted and repulsed, and also both trying to find their humanity. But I think when you really dig into the darker aspects of ourselves, the blood is a metaphor, I think, in some ways for that and for digging deep. And also can be very handy for humor as well. So.
Una domanda lì in mezzo.
Twilight is mostly loved by girls. I would like to know if you guys you knew Twilight before you took part in New Moon, maybe from a girlfriend or a little sister, and what boys could find in these books and these movies. Thanks.
See, I started off on like the first Twilight movie. I got dragged to by my girlfriend, like a lot of guys say and everything, and never really got to the books or anything like that. But I know New Moon for a fact, like you just said, you saw a lot of action scenes, and that's really what we're doing is we're making it a more kind of vast film. We're trying to bring the guys into it by doing that. There's a bunch more action. You get to see the Vulturian action. You get to see the wolf pack come out. It's just. I know from my point of view, I'm 16, I'm a guy. It's so much more cooler, so much better on that fact for the action and everything. It'll be pretty sweet.
My brother actually introduced me to the books, so it was just kind of, at the time it was a craze, and he jumped on it, and he really loved them, I think saying that it's just like. Sure, there is probably a majority of girl fan base now that the film's come out. But at the time, if you probably had looked back at the fan base of the books prior to when the film was made, it was probably a bit more even. Like Cameron said, there's a lot of action, and I also think there's it's a romantic story at heart, and everyone loves romantic stories, no matter if you're a boy or a girl. I think it's not a cheesy rom-com at all, but there's definitely a sort of love lust there, and I think everyone can relate to that, male or female.
Primo.
Ecco, scusate. Volevo sapere, quando siete venuti a conoscenza del ruolo preso, siete andati a vedere e a leggere su New Moon meglio a comprendere il vostro personaggio, oppure avete aspettato il copione?
From my perspective, and I think probably from all of our perspectives, because there isn't like that huge backstory available to us, there was a certain degree of flexibility allowed for each of us in assuming where we came from. Now mine was this over-elaborate backstory about how Dimitri used to live on a volcano and stuff, which was hilarious. I told Stephanie it and she looked at me like, oh, you know, stop it. But, where was I going with that? Oh yeah, I've got, yeah, I mean, there was a good 3 or 4 days in between the audition and the callbacks. So I went to see the audition and I had literally like 2 or 3 days to prepare for that audition where I did get hold of the books, I did call all my friends who might have known about Dimitri. There was that 3 days where I got into the books, I found out every shred of detail about, you know, my character, and I'm sure I'm sure you did as well, Jamie. But, you know, you have to stay, you can't drift too far in the audition process, you can't drift too far from what you have there. Once you've got the role, then you can be creative, which I think all of us were. You know, and really brought the characters to ourselves, and in that respect, you know, you'll probably see a lot of our own characters in these volunteering members.
I mean, the thing is, you can't turn up to an audition, and because if you're going to an audition, you know what the character is you're going for, and particularly if it's something like Twilight, where there is a lot of information prior to the movie even being made. You should do your background work. You can't go into an audition and go, so this Caius guy, is he a vampire? I don't know about this. Like, what is he? So you kind of, I think for all of us, when we went to well, apart from you because you just got offered it, so yeah, lucky. For all of us who had to audition, I think it was pretty necessary that we understood what it was that we were going up for. So yeah.
I know for me, because I was going to audition originally and then I ended up just getting it offered to me. But no, I was going to audition and I went up to one of my friends and I was just like, oh yeah, you're not going to believe what I'm auditioning for. They're like, oh what? I was like, Twilight. And one of my friends was just like, you know what, I bet you play a great Alec. And I was like, wait, what? And then they're just like, well, he looks like you, yada yada. And they told me everything I needed to know from the books, just like that. Like 4 people were just yelling back and forth about Alec, and I was like, you're kidding me, right? Because that's who I'm going to try out for. And they were like, Mom, see, we know. And I was just like, you know, at first I was like, you're crazy, but, you know, they definitely helped me quite a bit. They told me everything I needed to know, so like, it's got such that fan base that, you know, you don't even really need to read the books, you just ask somebody about it, and right away everybody knows what it's about, you know.
You didn't read the books,
No. I read the script. What did you read? Did you read books or the audiobooks? Yeah, exactly.
I guess it was read too, you know, like 90 bumpers did it.
You don't read it though. You listen to it.
Passively, yeah. Like so emotional back. Certain oil.
Io avrei una domanda per Jamie. Ricordavamo all'inizio appunto i grandi registi con cui ha già lavorato e mi chiedevo se lo diverte questo passare, diciamo, dai grandi blockbuster americani al cinema d'autore, magari a un budget più ridotto, ecco, con che criterio poi scegli questi ruoli?
I enjoy working massively on whatever it is that I'm doing. And the question as to how do I choose my roles? Well, a great story will always be a great story. That's just a fact of life. And I think when you receive a script for something, you can tell straight off the bat if it's a great story or not. And if you want to be involved in it, whether it be a small part or a big part, if you love it, go for it. Like, you know, that's just how I work. And I really do enjoy sort of just getting involved in cinema in general, any form of cinema, and it's always nice to, you know, it's great to be able to go and do like a Hollywood movie where you get treated like a star, you know, you get put up in a great hotel, but then it's also nice to go and do, you know, a small, you know, independent film or a low budget movie where you are put up in, you know, a crappy hotel on the motorway and you know, and it's long hours, but you've got such a short time to do it in, and that's, you know, it's all about if you're enjoying it or not. I'm not doing this to be in Hollywood. I'm doing this because I just like making films and I like being in movies and I like pretending to be someone I'm not. It's just something I dig.
E se non ci sono altre domande chiudiamo questo incontro e ringraziamo i nostri ospiti e grazie a voi.